Linda and Keith Tarr-Whelan, welcome to the Salzburg Global Seminar and Schloss Leopoldskreuz.
Thank you.
It's lovely to be here.
You were taking part in a seminar on women and economic growth. In fact, Linda, you were the chair of that seminar.
That's right.
But you and your husband are partners both at home and at work with Tarr-Whelan and Associates. What do you do? What does your organization do?
Well, I'll let Keith join in if he'd like to, but we're change management consultants on the international level as well as the national level in the United States. And what we say for shorthand is we help people create change or manage it. And so we've had a lot of very interesting clients over the years, from universities to international organizations to corporations. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful exercise for us. And in some ways, coming here to Salzburg, particularly chairing a meeting, is really about change management too, since that's really what Salzburg is trying to accomplish, is to bring people together who are in a position to make change happen.
And in that context, do you also deal quite specifically with issues related to women, or rather to the advancement of women?
Not in our consulting practice. We have a lot of clients whose organizations are women run or have an emphasis on women's issues, but we work for all sorts of organizations. We have mainly non-profits, some large multinational organizations, and some private companies.
One of the things we find, though, is by using our understanding of gender and some of the styles that are more popular in women-run organizations, we can help bring that into other kinds of organizations as well.
How did you meet one another? Because I know you've both had very illustrious careers in different ways, in different places, but at some stage, was it something professional that brought you together?
Well, it was professional, but it's an international romance, because we met in Cuernavaca in Mexico. Then we met again in Stockholm in Sweden, all at international conferences, and then we met again in New York, and then finally we met in Geneva, Switzerland. We decided by that point we were fed up with traveling to see each other, so we decided to get engaged there, and then we got married in the United States.
I wonder how many romances begin at international conferences.
We're all for them.
And the Salzburg Global Seminar.
Yes, of course.
Now, to come back to the session that you were chairing, and Keith, I think you probably could have just as easily chaired this session as well. Would you agree with me, Linda?
I don't know, actually. Linda's a very good chair. We, in our lives, have played different roles. Linda's been more the upfront person, but not completely the upfront person. My strengths are in communications and public relations and advocacy. So Linda's the better speaker. That's not to say I'm not any good, but she's better than I am. So could I have chaired this? Yes, at a pinch I could have chaired this.
But I think you would prefer not to be a moderator for part of it, to be certainly involved in all of the group work and the conversations and so forth. But one of the things we have found is it's still hard for men to play an upfront role on gender issues. And we have to change that. That was one of our themes, actually, for this conference.
Indeed, I was wanting to know, in terms of the outcomes, what you would identify as being the most significant and where we go from here.
Well, actually, you can join in with me, but I think there's three big outcomes to this conference, which had people from 30 countries, from government, universities, private sector, NGOs, a wide variety of backgrounds. The first one is really the importance of engaging men, because what we talked about, actually, and heard a lot of data presented and so forth, is that women are really a key to economic growth for companies and for countries. And right now, men still think that gender is something that belongs at a women's meeting, to the detriment of economies and businesses that think like that. And women sometimes think they're more comfortable on the margins than in the mainstream. So engaging men, working directly with men on gender equality was probably the biggest outcome of this meeting. But there were others. There were important ones, I think, that are quite different, which is there was a lot of discussion about how women, being half the population of our country, are multilithic, I think, was the new word that was coined here. But to think about what strengths women bring, you know, all the way up and down, the age groups, the geography, the ethnic groups, and so forth. And I think there have been very few conferences that put a focus onto that. Would you like to add any of the other things?
Well, this has been called a women's conference. It really wasn't, although most of the participants were women, although there were, I think, 5 men there. I think the lesson is stronger for men than it is for women. The lesson for men here is that unless CEOs of corporations, unless politicians, national and lower, in the states and lower levels, and heads of NGOs realize that the real talent base, the future talent base of the 21st century is actually women. It was The Economist that said, forget China, forget India, forget the internet, it's women who are going to make the 21st century in terms of economic development. So if a company ignores the 80% of the consumers who are women, if they ignore the talent base, 60% of all graduates are women, then that's their lookout. They can do that, but they're going to suffer. And I think that's the central lesson here, is that even organizations led by men, particularly organizations led by men, better wake up, because it's coming.
Let me ask, do you have an equal division of labor at home and in the office?
We have a, yeah. We see ourselves
close.
Actually as a partnership, that home and work that we do are all part of the same package.
Yin and yang.
Yeah, yin and yang. And we split it up differently. I mean, Keith is a fabulous cook. I'm an okay cook, but I'm not a fabulous cook. He does all the cooking and the shopping. I actually like the numbers. I do all the books, you know, the checking accounts and all the rest of that kind of thing. We have 2 children and 4 grandchildren. So this process of who does what in the home has changed over the years. And then when we were in business together, which we've actually done several times in the past, this consulting firm, but one other time we
And we love it, incidentally.
We really enjoy it. But we had to rejuggle things depending on how much was work time that was needed and how much was home time that was needed.
This is not your first visit to Schloss Leopoldskron. You've been here together before.
We have. It's our third one.
Third. Tell me, has it changed? When did you first come?
2006.
Oh, it couldn't have changed that much.
No, it hasn't. Some people here, though, had come in the 80s. I mean, it's a wonderful heritage. There's a woman here on the faculty from India who spoke about the fact she'd come in the 80s, and she's still in contact with a number of the fellows who were in her group, and they have really become change agents in various sectors all over the world.
What is it that's, if you like, unique about this place to gather together very impressive people for a period of a few days?
Well, I think there's several things, but one of the things I think is very important is that people can say what they want here. There's a free exchange of ideas, and the rules are, of course, that that no one can be reported on specifically on things, and I think that makes it very easy for people to say what they want to, and I think that's one very important thing.
I think also very busy people need a break to get a chance to think and to recharge their batteries, or at least that's an American way to think about it. And a number of people have said that to me, that I didn't realize how badly I needed to step back to learn again things that perhaps I have not been paying attention to get into really good discussions with people from all over the world. So I think there's some, learning things. There's some definitely networking things that are very important for the future, but also space. Space to be yourself, space to say what you want to say.
Well, it's a great place to leave all your prejudice behind too. Because if you have them, you're gonna get stepped on fairly quickly by some of the participants.
Well, I hope you'll pay a 4th visit to Schloss Leopoldskron, that there will be further follow-up meetings to women and economic growth. And thank you so much for being with us on this occasion.
Well, thank you
very much. It's been wonderful.